AskReddit by internal.net 1870. What's something your parents told you as a kid that you now realize was entirely not true? Dad won his war medals in a jelly eating competition. This one is so wholesome and so dark at the same time. Let's put it this way, I can still see. Any hair on your palms? My dad told me Baskin Robbins was only open on the 31st. That's like what my friend tells her kid. She says the ice cream truck is out of ice cream if it plays music. That cows that live in the mountains have two legs shorter than the others so they can stand on hills better. Fucking told everybody at school it was true. Teacher laughed in my face. I was a pretty smart kid. It just made too much sense. Obviously it's only goats that have that. Don't forget that they stay like that because the ones with left side short legs can only mate with other left sides and vice versa. They only meet the right side ones head on so they can't get the naughty bits together. That finishing my liver would help the starving children in Africa. Drinking for Africa. That staring at the TV from less than 10 feet away will make you go blind, as I sit and stare at my iPhone from 8 inches away. Using computers we would all be blind. That it's illegal to drive with the dome light on at night. A big surprise for me as an adult was that just about everyone's parents, from all over the US, said this. My intestines will, in fact, not freeze solid if I go out into the cold without first eating my balanced breakfast of sugar cereal and toast with Nutella before school. Balanced. If you swallowed gum it stayed in your stomach for 7 years. If you don't wait an hour after eating and go swimming you will get cramps and drown. If you tear the tags off of pillowcases the cops will come and take you to jail. And if you swallowed a watermelon seed, you'd grow a watermelon plant in your tummy. My mom told us that if we ever had more than 2 pieces of Twizzlers, we would have unbearable diarrhea. I think I was 30 before it clicked that it was bullshit, and she was just hogging the Twizzlers. She might not have been a candy hog. Black licorice has a mild laxative effect. Many people accidentally transferred that to red vines and Twizzlers. A friend's parent would tell us the car cannot move until all the seat belts are buckled. I took that literally and was confused why my parents' car didn't have that feature. It does. It's just a human activated feature. My brother fully believed for 26 years that my mother's middle name was Ermintrude, of Magic Roundabout fame, after a flippant comment my mother made. He found out at the age of 29 and was devastated that mum had lied. My grandmother, the one to unwittingly reveal mum only had one middle name that wasn't Ermintrude, rang later annoyed that she wasn't in on the joke, otherwise she'd have kept up the facade. My uncle conned my baby brother into believing he had a very naughty twin for almost 10 years. Even drew a mole on himself several times and showed up as said naughty uncle. The whole family was in on it, including Nana. She thought it was a hoot, and would constantly call him the wrong name to prove that my uncle had a twin. Surprisingly, my brother caught on about that one much faster than he did about Santa. His reaction years after that, at finding out his older sister once was Santa, as mum and dad had slept in and not wrapped anything, was even better. One I told my own kids, Happy New Year. It's midnight, now go to bed. We were on the west coast watching the bull drop in New York, so it was only 9 PM. They believed it for many years, and my husband and I got to have a grown-up New Year's celebration after they fell asleep. And by grown-up New Year's celebration you mean going to bed at 10 PM? The Easter Bunny not being real was a big disappointment. I once had a gig as an Easter Bunny at a community center. You could easily tell which kids believed, which ones were skeptical and which ones knew the sad truth. Be quiet on the boat, you will scare the fish away. My dad just wanted us to be quiet. Wait, what? You can talk while fishing? It doesn't actually turn the fish away? Oh, how I've been bamboozled. Don't shave above your knees or else the hair will grow wild. I now see this as an attempt to keep my skirts longer. I had peach fuzz in early high school, and they always told me to not shave it off otherwise it will grow back thicker and spread everywhere on my face. Little did I know, this was because they didn't want me taking up any more time in the bathroom during mornings before school. Haha. That I would lose my virginity by riding a bike. Your mother and father told you that? It's not something they said per se but something they never corrected me on. I saw a lot of death growing up and went to several funerals. I just always assumed that everyone knew loss and grief from a young age. Until, a couple of years ago, a friend of mine lost her grandpa and I found out it was the first time she experienced grief. Talking to her, I found out it's the case for most people. I did the exact same thing with my son. We were talking about how in his 20s he had never been to a funeral. I thought he was so lucky, most people lose like half dozen friends by their 20s. Yeah, not really. That I was fat. I am now, but I wasn't when I was a kid. But they told me over and over and over that I was fat and that I had enough food, or had to watch what I ate. That happened to me too. I developed eating disorders because of it. I look at old photos and realize they were nuts. People got tattoos because they ran out of paper. Getting stuck cross-eyed haunted me for years. That you had to be 5 to go to Disney World. I was so excited on my 5th birthday and my dad told me they changed the rules and you have to be 6. Then my 6th birthday came and he said the same thing. I stopped asking. Also we had the money and the time back then. My parents just didn't want to go. I feel like those lies made me realize at an early age that I cannot trust my parents. I know it might seem small but that experience of disappointment and distrust really stuck with me. I told my parents how I felt about it as an adult and they said they just didn't want to do kid shit. I wish they just told me that they weren't going to take me instead of lying. AWWGs, I'm sorry. Everything will work out if you're willing to put in hard work. To be fair, I think their life had gone well before they taught us this, and they had some unfortunate crushing situations when we were teens where we all learned that wasn't true together. Parent here, I just got caught for a lie I told years ago to my daughter. In an effort to not have a picky eater make less work for myself, I once told her that the crust is the healthiest part of the bread on her sandwich. 10 years later she's fussing at her younger sister for tearing off the crust and I hear the crust is the healthiest part. I always eat my crust first, in a slightly superior tone. I died. I had forgotten all about that silly lie. And X200B. I regret nothing. Haha. When we were kids, we were eating a baked ham one night and my brother decided he didn't like it. He never had a problem eating ham before, he just changed his mind that night. My mom picked up a piece that, for some reason, had long pieces of meat dangling. She showed it to him and said that it wasn't ham, it was octopus. He happily ate it. 4 years after that, we called baked ham octopus. I think he was a teenager when we told him the truth after we went to a restaurant that served octopus and he was thinking about ordering it. That what I was smelling was sewage and not Mary J. I was so fucking naive.